At the Goodwood Revival, one of the world's premier motor racing festivals, the Blue Ribbon event has always been the RAC Tourist Trophy Celebration Race. Here, in this 1-hour, 2-driver race, closed cockpit GT cars of the early 60s take on the fast and dangerous Goodwood circuit. Amongst a grid worth more than £100 million, are European exotics such as Ferrari 250s, lightweight Jaguars, V8 AC Cobras, unique Aston Martin project cars, and making a welcome return, the mid-engine Ferrari 250LF. Such a race always attracts star drivers, but none could keep the unpredictable British weather at bay. An expectant crowd watched as practice and qualifying sessions began. As drivers struggled for grip in these greasy conditions, the Maserati Tipo 151 of Joe Colasacco and Derek Hill suffered steering failure catching slower cars into Woodcote and was set hurtling into the barriers. The 1964 Ferrari 250 GTO of Jean Alesi and Andrew Newell was, despite a fantastic final charge, beaten into second place on the grid by the AC Cobra of Graham and Oliver Bryan. Although a race winner in past revivals, Richard Frankel's Lister-Jaguar coupe was sounding decidedly off colour and joined the ranks of other teams feverishly working to repair and ready their cars ahead of Sunday's race. Unfortunately, as the afternoon of race day dawned, conditions had barely improved.
The wind has picked up enormously in the last 15-20 minutes. Ferrari Grand Prix driver, one Grand Prix win to his credit. 28, Ludwig Caron, fellow Frenchman, on one side. The second race, 17, is Chris Harris in the Lister. 4 is David Hart, the Dutchman, the red stripe Cobra. 32 on row 3 is John Young, starting 8, Rob Huff, reigning world touring car champion. Somebody who listened to Tiger, he was flying yesterday. 27 is Wolfgang Friedrichs in the Aston Martin project car. Row 4, Darren Turner starts 25, and 23 is Gary Pearson. 5, Joaquin von Roussillon drives first. Michael Scriver changed to your programme. Multiple Le Mans winner Emmanuel Hiro in car 10. Browner Altonen the Finn in 50. The next row, Alan de Cavenay starts number 19, the green Ferrari. In Dalglish in 33, and Jackie Oliver in the yellow Ferrari short wheelbase number 60. 18 is the Belgian Mark Davis in his Cobra. 15 is Clive Joy, with Jockey Mouse, and number 5 is Tom Alexander. The race. There is Rob Huff, racing enthusiast, world touring car champion, and he's fantastic. There is rebuilt twice over the last couple of years following big shunts, but it's come back faster and stronger. Working a lot on the suspension. You can see the big anti-roll bars underneath.
As the cars lined up on the grid after only one sighting lap, no one seemed as nervous as Jean Alesi, who in his excitement to improve on second place qualifying got a wonderful start in car 29.
number 4 Cobra, which leads the way for the DH.
The number 4 AC Cobra took the lead on lap 1, but the leading pack just seemed to get closer and closer as the race progressed. Less than 2 seconds separated the top 6 after just a few laps, but Alesi's eagerness was about to catch up with him.
29 has a jump start penalty. Well, that's not good. Noticeably, Rob Hunt's car smoking, but...
Almost immediately as the penalty was announced, the safety car was brought out, as part of the chicane had been dislodged through exuberant cornering by one of the E-types. Many teams took advantage of this slow period and made their driver changes. The pits were now a hive of activity.
Chris Harris leading by 1.5 seconds from Gary Pearson. They have their driver changes to do. On the sort of the last apex.
The number 29 Ferrari, although third on track, was pushed severely down the field as the time penalty was made worse and worse by the safety car bunching up the pack.
On colder tyres now, they've all got colder tyres now.
As the thrilling restart came, the number 4 Cobra led Gary Pearson in the Jaguar E-Type, number 23. As cars were fighting for position all down the field, Gary Pearson in Jaguar E-Type number 23 pitted and frantically passed advice of the circuit's worsening conditions to ex-Formula 1 driver Karen Chandok.
Currently showing in 11th place,
After losing out in the restart, the Ferrari 250 GTO suffered a slow pit stop soon after conceding second, then third place, and Tom Christensen began a charge aimed squarely at the leaders.
This is looking great because we've got
Unbelievably, the top 5 were now running closer together than they had been behind the safety car.
Ferrari with Gillian turning losing Carroll right behind. And David Hart.
Unfortunately, as the pace at the Ferrari 250 Le Mans slowed, the Lister-Jaguar only seemed to get faster, making up for its failed qualifying attempts. Little did these new drivers know how difficult their race was to be. As the Ferrari 330 GTO of Lucas Huni and Carlo Vogel fell by the wayside, the inevitable rain began to fall. As conditions became almost undrivable, crowds watched 9 times Le Mans winner Tom Christensen spin out into the gravel at Le Vans, and watched as the Aston Martin Project 212 number 27, driven by Friedrichsen Hadfield, picked its way through the field and into the lead, holding off the charging Lister-Jaguar of Chris Harris and Anthony Reid, almost losing control at Woodcote and the chicane. As the crowds cheered the final cars fighting across the line, the checkered flag could not have come sooner for Friedrichsen Hadfield, who, after years of trying, had finally given the Aston Martin a Goodwood win. As the cars made their way back into the paddock, it was clear that this was a race to be marked in Goodwood history, made obvious by the smiles and relief on the faces of spectators and drivers alike.